I've been reading the Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman, and today I'm back with episode 2 of Lessons in Stoicism. Let's get started. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Rachel here. As always, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a thing. Like this video as well so that it is referred to other viewers too. So as I said, today we're going to be talking about the lessons I'm learning in Stoicism from the Daily Stoic, which is 366 meditations on wisdom, perseverance, and the art of living. It's by Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman, and I've been having a blast with this book. You guys, I've learned so many lessons as the months have gone by. And granted, there's some days that I've missed out on this book, but the beautiful thing about it is that next year I can start all over again and keep on reading it. There is literally a meditation for every single day, and I guess it's 366 because they factored in the fact that it might be a leap year whenever you want to read. So in today's episode, which is episode 2 of Lessons in Stoicism, if you missed episode 1, I'm going to let the link come out here above so you guys can check that out. So today we're doing episode 2, and as I said in episode 1, every episode is going to be based on the lessons that I learned that really impacted on me in a particular month. So episode 1 was in January, and episode 2 is going to cover February, the month of February. And so in February, I learned a lot about passions and emotions. The book literally was broken up into different parts, and each month has a particular topic that it's talking about. January was clarity, February is passions and emotions. So from these daily let me call them daily meditations and devotions, I've been learning a lot about how to stay calm in any situation, how to control your emotions, how not to give into passions. And I think that one of the most critical things that a lot of people figure out about the Stoic school of philosophy is that Stoics are like very emotionless, they don't give into passion. But I think that's like an extreme way of looking at it. The Stoics are very, for lack of a better word, passionate about not being passionate. So they uphold, the ability to control your emotions, the ability to rise above certain situations, how to approach anger, how to stay calm in the midst of a storm or in any situation. And there are different quotes that really stood out to me in the month of February, and lessons that stood out to me in the month of February, which I'm going to share with you. So here are some tips on that I've learned and I'm learning and I'm still practicing on how to stay calm in any situation according to the Stoics, and how to control your emotions. So number 1 is to choose gentleness and civility, and I'm going to read out like a portion that really stood out to me on that. Like when you're faced with any situation and it's a case of, should I get angry or should I get like mad at this person? And of course you're going to meet a whole lot of people. Oh my goodness, let's not even talk about people who drive like crazy on the road, or people that you meet every single day that just want to get a rise out of you. And the Stoics believe that in those type of situations, no matter how tough it might be at first, you learn to choose gentleness and civility. Let me read out a quote by Marcus Aurelius. It says, "Keep this thought handy when you feel a fit of rage coming on. It isn't manly to be enraged. Rather, gentleness and civility are more human and therefore manlier. A real man doesn't give way to anger and discontent, and such a person has strength, courage, and endurance, unlike the angry and complaining. The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." And strength is the ability to maintain a hold of oneself. It's being the person who never gets mad, who cannot be rattled because they are in control of their passions rather than controlled by their passions. And I feel like this is why Stoicism is something that is going to be practiced forever, because obviously it's impossible to never get mad, like nothing ever rattles you. But I guess it's the extent to which you're rattled, or to the extent to which you're mad, or how angry you get. And it's the ability to be able to have strength over yourself and just remind yourself that, look, in this situation, I'm going to choose to be gentle, I'm going to choose to be civil. The next tip would be to remember that getting angry almost never solves anything. Like, just think about how many times you've probably gotten angry over the past week or month or year, and you acted out in anger, and you know, especially if somebody really got you mad, you are trying to communicate with somebody and you got very, very upset. How did the anger really solve anything if you want to narrow it down to what happened? How did getting angry solve anything? Yes, you feel like maybe you may have purged yourself of the emotion that you were feeling, of the rage that you were feeling, but did it solve anything? Didn't you have to still calm down and have the conversation? And that's what I'm learning. Like, anger never solves anything. If anything, it just escalates things up into what could have been, you know, necessarily been avoided. So I'm going to read out a quote that stood out to me on this, and it was on February 10th. Anger is bad fuel. There is nothing more stupefying than anger, nothing more bent on its own strength. If successful, none more arrogant. If foiled, none more insane, since it's not driven back by weariness, even in defeat. When fortune removes its adversary, it turns its teeth on itself. And this is by Seneca on anger. And it just boils down to the fact that anger is toxic fuel, and the more you stay angry, the more you fill yourself with rage, the less you're able to achieve anything. It doesn't really solve anything. If you're angry at somebody and the person doesn't even know that you're angry at them, then you're just doing yourself, because really, I mean, how does that solve anything? Call somebody aside, communicate with them, speak to them, address situations. Like I said, choose gentleness and civility. You can be hurt, you can be mad, but the question is, like, staying mad, how does that solve the immediate situation? Another tip on how to stay calm and control your emotions is to protect your peace of mind. That's one major thing that I've learned, oh my goodness, because protect your peace of mind from different things. It could seem like it's so little, but your exposure to social media and the things that you welcome, you experience so many emotions, so many anxious thoughts in a day based on the opinions of others, and you just have to learn to protect your peace of mind. Protect yourself from any form of toxicity. If you're in an environment that does not serve your purpose, you need to get out of it and protect your mind, and make sure that you are in places where you can blossom. And I'm going to read out a quote by Epictetus. It says, "Keep constant guard over your perceptions, for it is no small thing you are protecting, but your respect, trustworthiness, and steadiness, peace of mind, freedom from pain and fear. In a word, your freedom. For what will you sell these things?" For what will you sell these things? Protect your peace of mind. It will ultimately help you in staying calm generally, and, you know, just having to a very large extent, a control over your emotions and your passions. And that's one major thing that I'm learning. The next tip will be to think before you act. This is quite tough, to be honest. And I know that as I'm reading these meditations and I'm thinking, like, sometimes I'm just like, whatever, what is really the reality of this? And that's why it's okay that you may fail the first couple of times, which I'm coming to, but how do you then bounce back, you know? But before you get there, think before you act. It's really, really tough to always think before we act, but that's a way that you can stay calm. Like, this thing that I'm about to do, especially in fits of rage and anger, that's truly the test. It's not when everything is going well. It's more like when I really feel like I want to get angry. Do I stop to think if I want to send a text, or I want to call someone out, I want to call them up on the phone, I want to yell at them? It's like, no, I want them to feel that I am angry. I'm going to read out a quote from Heraclitus. It says, "For to be wise is only one thing, to fix our attention on our intelligence, which guides all things everywhere." And so you can just tell that the importance of thinking before you act really comes into play in being able to control your emotions and your passions. The next tip will be to prepare for the storm. I think that it would be highly crazy for you to sit in some bubble and say, oh, you know what, as long as I avoid human beings in the world, nothing is going to come to me, no drama is going to come to me. They say you'll just be sitting and a trailer will jam you, like you don't even know what is going on. Somebody will just mention your name in some conversation, next week somebody is calling you to yell at you. People are even keeping malice with you, you don't know about it. People are there saying, I have to confront you because what you did, and you're like, huh? What did I do? Like, you don't even know what is going on. You're like, what did I do? So there'll always be storms, whether it's at the workplace, there'll always be storms, whether it's in friendships, between siblings. And storms could be situations that are not necessarily favorable to you, where you have to act, where you have to say something, where you have to approach with gentleness and civility. And that's one of the things that I'm learning. And one of the ways that you can prepare for the storm is to have a plan, just have a plan about when such things arise. What can I do to make sure that I'm able to manage this storm in a way that I don't lose myself in it, in a way that I don't give up my emotions, I don't act in fits of rage or anger or things like that. The next tip is to remember circumstances have no care for your feelings. Like, oh my goodness, this is so important. What can you do about the weather when it rains? Really? If it rains when you wanted a sunny day because you wanted to have a picnic, and then you start getting upset, you start crying, you start getting angry, make a plan, prepare for the storm, which goes back to that tip from before. If you were going to have an event and you knew it was going to rain, have a backup plan. Things that would happen don't care about your feelings. Like, it is what it is, and things happen in life that are not necessarily favorable to us. This is a quote by Marcus Aurelius. It says, "You shouldn't give circumstances the power to rouse anger, for they don't care at all. Why bother getting mad at causes and forces far bigger than us? Why do we take things personally? After all, external events are not sentient beings. They cannot respond to our shouts and cries, and neither can the mostly indifferent gods." That's what Marcus was reminding himself of here. Circumstances are incapable of considering or caring for your feelings, your anxiety, or your excitement. They don't care about your reaction. They are not people. So stop acting like getting worked up is having an impact on a given situation. Situations don't care at all. The last tip that I've learned, and I'm learning on how to stay calm and manage my emotions, is to regain composure. Yes, because as much as I'm giving all these tips, let's not forget that there will definitely be times where we'll fall flat on our face, where we'll give into our passions, we'll give into our emotions, and we'll be feeling like, oh my goodness, I feel so bad here. Maybe I was trying to not be angry for a couple of days, and then I ended up losing control. I ended up losing my cool. And oh, I'm a wretch, I'm a failure, whatever. No, it's more like when you lose control, what do? If you've messed up a little, you've messed up a lot, you've gotten angry, you've gotten rage, you've allowed your anxiety and fear and all those other emotions like take over you, what do? You stop, you regain your composure, and you realize your composure is there waiting for you. It's not a rush. You've not lost it forever. You can regain your composure, and that's one thing that I'm learning. You stop, you regain your composure. If you've acted out while you were in a fit of like rage, or you were in a heightened emotion, you can always backtrack, analyze what you've done. If there needs to be apologies, if you need to communicate with people that you've probably wronged or said things to, or apologize, or just whatever you have to do that when you have regained your composure. But realize that your composure is there for you to regain it. And lastly, I'm going to read out a quote by Epictetus in his book Discourses, and it says, "The soul is like a bowl of water, and our impressions are like the ray of light falling upon the water. When the water is troubled, it appears that the light itself is moved too, but it isn't. So when a person loses their composure, it isn't their skills and virtues that are troubled, but the spirit in which they exist. And when that spirit calms down, so do those things." So I hope that these valuable tips would help you going forward to stay calm. And these are lessons that I'm learning in Stoicism on how to stay calm and manage your emotions. Choose gentleness and civility. Remember that getting angry almost never solves anything. Protect your peace of mind. Think before you act. Prepare for the storm. Remember that circumstances have no care for your feelings. And lastly, regain composure when you lose control. So I hope that these tips have been helpful to you. If you have any additional tips to leave in the comments, please let me know as well. Drop a comment, like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.